A subsequent suit alleging that one of the justices who voted with the 4-2 majority in the Avery case had received $4 million in campaign contributions from State Farm and should not have heard the appeal.
So let me see if I understand correctly. The ruling, which would have been against State Farm for $1.1 billion, was overturned on a technicality in a 4-2 decision, and we found out later, and then subsequently through a court case, that one of the justices received $4 million in campaign contributions from State Farm.
That's what this is saying.
That's what it says.
You, and I don't know if they're going to disclose this to you or not disclose this to you. I mean, you'll get a copy of the estimate. It should be disclosed on the estimate, and I don't know what the laws are in Texas and Oklahoma, but
Sure.
I'll tell you that as a consumer, if you take your car to one of these shops, they are directed to use these less expensive, non-factory parts, which are going to diminish the value of your vehicle. And that we know to be a fact. Make sure your estimate does not reflect the use of aftermarket parts on it. You don't want them. And if your insurance company or your body shop says, yeah, they're fine and we guarantee them and they'll never be a problem, great. Tell me how, if they get decertified, I become aware of that. And what is the process at that point?
Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Airing of Grievances. I'm Eric Reamer. That's Rob Grieve. And we are happy that you are here with us again. If it's Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. in the Mountain Standard Time, you know it's time for the Airing of Grievances. And if you're watching this during the premiere, which means the first time this episode ever airs, Rob and I are watching it with you, and we will actually chat with you live on the YouTube chat application. So, if you're watching it afterwards, leave a comment below. Let us know where you're watching from, and we appreciate all of our commenters.
Absolutely.
We really do. If this is your first time, don't forget to give a thumbs up. That helps Google know that this is a relevant topic for other people to take a look at. And of course, if you're one of our regular all-time family, we appreciate you so very, very much. If you haven't yet taken the time to subscribe, click the subscribe button and the notification bell. That will tell, YouTube, tell you when we're airing a new one. And of course, if it's Saturday morning at 9:30, you know. All right, Rob,
Happy Saturday to you.
Happy Saturday to you.
To you, my dear friends. Thanks for tuning in.
Very nice to have you along with us. And along those lines, thanks so much for all of you who have turned in the last couple of our videos, have seen a significant spike in viewing, and so
Totally grateful to all of you.
it happens when people share this content, so you can share it on your social medias. Just click the link and fire off a share. But aside from that, Rob, we've got some pretty cool stuff happening here, and we want to talk about an article that just came out in Repair Driven News. And by the way, congratulations to Repair Driven News. They're doing an amazing job over there. And an article came out today that says State Farm is going to test expanded use of aftermarket parts in Texas and Oklahoma. Now, there's a little backstory there, but just by the headline alone.
All right, before we get there.
Yeah, okay.
Before we get there.
Yeah.
I was in Chicago earlier this week.
Yep.
At the brand new iCar training center, which is just unbelievable.
Right.
It's a gigantic laboratory. It's just like you walk in these rooms and it's like you walked into heaven. It's just so bright. Sitting down after the long day and chatting with some people hanging around by the hotel, and a gentleman by the name of Ken comes up and introduces himself. He says, I watch all your videos.
Wow.
He's from New Jersey.
Ken's from Jersey.
Ken's from Jersey. We're both in Chicago. We're broadcasting from Denver. And, we just hear it all the time, and I'm so grateful for you guys tuning in. And
absolutely.
It's
Ken,
so much fun.
We appreciate you.
Ken,
and
what a great conversations we've had.
And Ken knows that it goes full circle because you grew up in Jersey.
Yeah, he knows all about it.
Yeah.
They knew the school, all the rest of that.
All right.
Anyway, we got this article here, and I am not here to talk about State Farm.
Okay.
I'm here to talk about the article.
All right.
The article is about State Farm.
It's a coincidence.
Yeah, I'm talking about an article.
We're just reporting the news.
That is all we're doing.
Yep.
I do maybe have a couple of sidebar questions that aren't covered in here.
Well, we filed that under Rob's opinion.
Yeah. That should be editorial,
and that's okay. That's all right. It's all within the parameters of what's acceptable.
Yeah. Far be it from me to say something against anybody.
One.
No.
Yeah.
No. And Repair Driven News knocked it out of the park again. Thank you so much, Dave Chance.
Yeah.
So grateful you came aboard.
It's a good team.
You and Laura just coming out with the best stuff ever. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Very relevant and incredibly written. State Farm title. State Farm says it will test expanded use of aftermarket parts in Texas and Oklahoma.
Okay.
The use of aftermarket parts is an ongoing saga. This is nothing new.
Right.
It's new for State Farm.
Really?
Well, since 1999-ish, there was an issue, and we'll talk about that in this article.
Yeah.
But most parts that they wrote on their estimates were OEM factory parts.
Okay.
Except for when you got down to AC condensers and radiators. They would be aftermarket parts.
All right.
But the large swath of it was OEM parts.
Okay.
Then it started creeping into used parts and so on and so forth. Now we're going to test aftermarket parts again. Again. So let's see. State Farm is told its direct repair program shops. That's a big thing right there. This is the shops that they're going to send you to or recommend you go to.
This is their preferred list of shops. If
Yes.
you get into an accident, they have to say, you can choose any shop of your own. However, here's a list of our preferred shops.
Right. And so this directive is going to their preferred shops, although we'll see about that.
Okay.
The article talks about the direct repair shops.
Right.
Okay. So in Texas and Oklahoma, and they'll test reintroduction of aftermarket bumper covers, headlights, and taillights when adjusting estimates and settling claims. People familiar with the issue have told Repair Driven News.
Okay.
Now, here's where it gets interesting. The decision in the Avery versus State Farm, that was a court case,
Yep.
which would have awarded the plaintiff class $1.056 billion, was overturned by the Illinois Supreme Court on a technicality in 2005.
Right.
After which State Farm announced it would be in a limited capacity consider resuming the use of aftermarket parts. A practice is suspended after the 1999 ruling.
Yep.
I know this is going to be hard to believe. I'm just reading what's in. I'm just reading.
Okay.
I'm just reading what's in here.
Duly disclaimed.
A subsequent suit alleging that one of the justices who voted with the 4-2 majority in the Avery case had received $4 million in campaign contributions from State Farm and should not have heard the appeal.
Yep.
That was settled for $250 million in 2018.
So let me see if I understand correctly. The ruling, which would have been against State Farm for $1.1 billion, was overturned on a technicality in a 4-2 decision And we found out later, and then subsequently through a court case, that one of the justices received $4 million in campaign contributions from State Farm.
That's what this is saying.
That's what it says.
That's what it's
Just
saying.
wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
And had that justice voted differently or not been according
Well,
to
it's still
to
a
the
4-2, so even if
It
you
would've
made
been a
it
3-3.
3-3 tie,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
now I'm not even sure what
Who
happens at that
knows,
point.
right? But it
So-
would have changed the outcome.
It
Maybe.
you don't know. Let's see. Oh, here we go. This week, the carrier told parties involved that it was reintroducing the use of non-OEM parts, aftermarket parts is what we're talking about here.
Yep.
Not made by the original equipment manufacturer, the maker of your vehicle.
Right.
These are made in another country,
It's true.
generally speaking. Okay, so why are they doing this? State Farm said that it's expected to improve the customer experience and efficiency as some essential auto parts remain in short supply, causing delivery and repair times to be adversely affected.
Okay. So
Parts are in short supply.
I think
We
that's
have
well established.
Cars here, and we just did a video on it a week or so ago. We have parts here from March, cars here from March still that we cannot get the parts for.
Waiting on those parts.
So that it's true that there's a part shortage.
Sure.
According to the State Farm materials shared with RDN, all non-OEM headlights, tail lamps, and bumpers specified will have to be certified by Certified Automotive Parts Association, kappa.
Yep.
Okay? Components that display the name or the logo of an OEM or vehicle will not be eligible for non-OEM replacement.
Yeah, you can't replace an OEM with another OEM.
Right.
All right, that seems to make sense.
So, the fit and finish. It's my understanding that if there is a fit and finish issue, that shops are directed, and this is somebody I was talking to that told me that it's not written in here and I don't know that to be a fact.
Okay.
It's my understanding that if there's a fit and finish issue, which is the biggest problem with aftermarket parts,
Right.
that they're not supposed to tell State Farm,
You're supposed to tell kappa.
they're supposed to tell kappa.
Right.
So I'm not sure, what the matrix are that is going to decide if this test is successful or not. But the fit and finish probably isn't one of those matrices they'll be tracking.
I presume it would be on profitability, but I'm just a guy with my own presumptions.
And that's it. That's it. And State Farm guarantees fit and finish. Although State Farm isn't fixing your car, the shops are fixing your car.
Wait a minute, what?
So, if you're taking a car to one of their DRPs or any DRP, make sure you check the gaps and fit and finish of everything before you leave. And if there's a problem, bring it up to the shop.
Well,
But-
here's the phone number to call. You can call us. We're happy to take a look at it.
But these DRPs or these partner shops, whatever they want to call themselves,
Yeah.
they don't have a choice. They have to do these things.
They have to do what the insurer
So
says.
and I don't know if they're going to disclose this to you or not disclose this to you. I mean, you'll get a copy of the estimate. It should be disclosed on the estimate, and I don't know what the laws are in Texas and Oklahoma, but
Sure.
I'll tell you that as a consumer, if you take your car to one of these shops, they are directed to use these less expensive non-factory parts,
Yep.
which are going to diminish the value of your vehicle. And that we know to be a fact.
Yep.
That we know to be a fact. So, in a May 11th first quarter earning call, Tim O'Day, CEO of the Boyd Group, that's also known as Gerber Collision.
Okay.
So Gerber and Caliber are your big players in the consolidators,
Right.
fixing cars for insurers.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's where they're their big customer base comes from.
All right.
Told investors that the supply chain issues had forced Gerber Collision to make greater use of OEM parts.
Wait a minute.
Which means if you take your vehicle there, the first choice for them is aftermarket parts.
Yes.
Not OEM parts. But because aftermarket parts were becoming scarce,
Supply chain issues.
they were having better luck with the OEMs.
Wait a minute.
But that
Didn't
doesn't really...
State Farm say it was the other way around?
Yeah. Yeah, they're doing this because of parts issues with the OEM, but it's really the OEM that has more parts than the... I don't understand. I'm just, just a regular
Just reporting the news.
body shop dude.
Yeah.
We continue to face, and this is Tim O'Day still, we continue to face chain disruptions which result in a negative impact on our margins, and this is on an earnings call.
Yeah.
So he's trying to explain why they're not making as much money as they usually make.
Right.
So he's blaming it on one of his comments, I'm guessing, which resulted in a negative impact on margin as higher percentage of parts were sourced from non-primary suppliers in order to complete repairs. Our mix of OE parts relative to alternative parts increased.
Oh, so they're using more OE, original equipment manufacturer parts, and this is why we're earning less.
Yes. Yes.
Because we can't get the aftermarket parts that we're looking for.
Yeah, because, and ready for this?
Uh-huh. There you. Sorry.
Mr. O'Day estimates that the percentage of shift from aftermarket parts to OEM parts has been relatively minor,
Okay.
in the single digits as far as the percentage goes, I'm
All right.
guessing. But because aftermarket parts are more profitable, he said the margin has been impacted.
Yep.
So aftermarket parts are cheaper for the insurance company and more profitable for the body shop. We will not buy them. We will not put them on any repaired vehicle here in Nylund. Ever. I haven't bought an aftermarket part in well over a decade.
Yeah.
And don't have any intention of it, even if I can't get an OEM part.
So you're not necessarily driven by the profitability to your shop.
No.
You are driven by the quality of repair and safety of your guest.
Yeah. This article continues on to say State Farm, which paid its CEO $40.5 million in bonuses since the start of the pandemic, has been increasing its rates in response to higher claims costs.
So they're covering their loss by raising the rates
To you.
on the backs of you,
Yep. So that they can put cheaper parts on your car.
because
So the
the
shop
OEMs are
can make more money, the insurance company can save more money, and you are the person that's getting the brunt of it. By the way, you paid more in premiums at the same time. So,
Sounds like we're double dipping in the profit margin
yeah.
area.
In Texas alone, the carrier was permitted to raise its rate 9.7%.
In what period of time?
That was in April.
Oh, they were able to raise 9.7 to 10%.
Yep.
Call it cost of living
Yep.
increase
Yep. In April.
in April alone.
And that collecting an additional $64 million, according to an analyst by S&P Global Market Intelligence, according to this article.
$64 million more to the bottom line because of a 9.4% 9.7% rate of increase in the month of April. And if you want to know if other insurers do
They
such
all are.
things, take a look at this video right up here. We actually made 2 videos about Allstate doing 42 increases over the course of a couple short months. That's huge. I didn't get a 9.7% raise
No.
in April.
No.
I didn't.
No,
I haven't got a 9.7% raise ever. I'm just saying.
So this is just a test, but I would suggest that this is coming to a state near you or your state. They're probably dipping their toe in the water to see what kind of response they're going to get. And if they're dealing with their own captured body shops, there's probably not going to be any pushback, because if you push back on them, then they just take you off the program, and you know how all that goes.
Yeah, I saw a post connected to this news release that said, wait a minute, I'm not on their list, and I never got asked about any of this.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense. It doesn't surprise us at all.
So anyway, brings one thing to mind, a question that I ask all the time on these aftermarket parts. Aftermarket parts,
yes,
are made by a third party re-engineering the part that's on your car from the factory.
Correct.
Okay, so it's a copycat. $30 Rolex, which I'm sure is probably $90 by now.
Cost of living, 9.7% increase.
Yeah. So they can submit their parts to an association, a testing lab, if you will, called Kappa.
Yeah.
And if they feel as though the part is like, kind, and quality, I'm not sure exactly of all the things. They claim all sorts of different things.
Right.
They may give the part the Kappa seal.
A certification,
And now it's certified. It's a Kappa certified aftermarket non-OEM part.
Right. Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah. So, every week I get a report in my email of all the Kappa parts that were certified and are now decertified.
Okay.
So the question becomes, somebody should ask it of State Farm. I would never do that.
Of course not.
What happens if the headlight, taillight, or bumpers you put on my car become decertified? Are you going to let me know and recall my vehicle and put a proper bumper on it, or headlight, or these parts are not the same as OEM.
They're not.
And a bumper cover is it's a plastic part. It's for looks. It doesn't offer much in the way of protection, but sometimes cameras or sensors are mounted to it, and are they going to be in the right place? I don't know. I'm not making a whole parts case, for the show. But I would never use one in one of my vehicles.
But let me ask you a question. If an OEM, if they put on an OEM bumper cover or headlight or whatever, and that became decertified is not the right word, but let's use it in the context, because it would be recalled if it were OEM.
If it were OEM, it'd be recalled. If it's certified and becomes decertified, nobody knows.
Right.
Except for I get the list.
And the OEM would be
putting a recall out.
Compelled to notify you.
Yes, they have to.
Right.
Have to notify you.
And yet, when it's non-OEM or aftermarket, that's the issue. That's the question you're really asking. Who's going to notify? Is it going to be the insurance company?
Nobody.
No.
Nobody.
And the insurance company, I'm guessing, this is my assumption, would say, well, we don't do the repair. It's interesting when they choose to use that phrase. But check with the shops. How many shops call up their guests and say, oh, by the way,
never heard of one ever.
Last year we put this on, now it's no longer good.
So, to me, a bumper cover, I don't consider that an overly safety-oriented piece, except for today they are. Because if in the rear bumper, if you have blind spot monitors, it has to be able to see through the plastics.
Right.
In some of the GM vehicles, the front radar, distance radar, looks through the plastic of the bumper.
Yeah.
And I know of one for sure that I did a post-repair inspection on, that when we scanned the vehicle, it said the sensor won't communicate. It won't see outside the bumper.
See through.
It can't see through. Because it is not the same thickness, weight, whatever
By definition, it cannot be.
It's got to be different. So these are the parts that they want to put on your car, and if you take it to one of their shops, they don't have a choice. They have to put it on your car because that's the agreement they have with the insurer. It's not only State Farm, all of them are the same.
Right.
So not to pick on them specifically.
Yeah.
just because there was an article. But some kappa certified parts that are decertified, it goes a step further and puts out a consumer safety notice.
Yeah, here's one.
I don't know who gets this notice. It doesn't go to the consumer, it goes someplace. I don't know if it just stays on their site.
Seems to be just posted on their website. At least
Yeah.
I couldn't find any
Which
public reference of it.
Yeah, you're never going to know where to look for this notification.
It took me all day.
And that was on bumper rebars recently and on headlights.
Both of which are very much safety.
Safety, the
components.
headlights are incredibly important to safety.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's what I wanted to bring to everybody's attention today. It's a mess. You do not want these parts on your car, in my opinion. I would never ever recommend them. I would never put them on my own vehicle. We will never use them in the repair of vehicles here. They are not the same. Simple and stick with OEM, stick with the manufacturer of your vehicle and their processes and procedures and equipment that they want used.
Yeah. And I'll put a little exclamation point on that if you don't mind. So too, the shops that have a DRP relationship with their insurers are not the same as the independent shops that choose to do only the proper repair with original equipment manufacturers. So buyer beware when it comes to choosing the shop. You do have a choice, and you do get to choose the ones who are going to do the right job the first time, every time.
Yeah, make sure your estimate does not reflect the use of aftermarket parts on it. You don't want them. And if your insurance company or your body shop says, yeah, they're fine and we guarantee them and they'll never be a problem, great. Tell me how, if they get decertified, I become aware of that. And what is the process at that point? Just
don't do it.
I get a list every week.
Yeah.
So, and they're not old cars; they're new cars.
That's right.
So.
All right, Rob. Well, thank you for taking the time to inform us. We appreciate you. Happy Saturday, everybody.
Happy Saturday. I hope everybody has an amazing week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Mwah! Appreciate you.